Speaker of the Jakarta Provincial Legislative Council, Prasetyo Edi Marsudi, said the Jakarta Provincial Administration must provide subsidies for electric cars in an effort to help improve air quality in the city.
Speaking at Jakarta Provincial Legislative Council, Prasetyo Edi said the use of electric vehicle could help tackle air pollution issue. Therefore, the city administration needs to disseminate the use of electric cars to Jakartans. Prasetyo Edi added that subsidy need to be given to Jakarta citizens who want to purchase those environmentally friendly vehicles. Besides providing the subsidy for electric cars, he also asked the Jakarta administration to build charging stations at various locations such as malls and rest areas along the toll roads. Learning from his visit to Los Angeles, the United States, Prasetyo Edi said the local administration there offers subsidy for electric cars and also provides numerous charging stations. He said the public will begin to switch from fossil fuel cars to electric cars if the number of charging stations facilitates are sufficient. At least the Jakarta Provincial Administration could learn from Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, ICAIR, an air pollution monitoring website, has reported that in the last 2 weeks, Jakarta has monitored to have one of the worst air quality in the world, even ranked first in Southeast Asia. The city's AQI, or Air Quality Index, was recorded at 158, which is categorically unhealthy. Jakartans should remain cautious, especially the elderly and children who are more sensitive and vulnerable to diseases. The following are tips to avoid threats from Jakarta's air pollution, which is increasingly dangerous. In the meantime, Jakarta's air quality has worsened on Thursday compared to a day prior, as it has entered the unhealthy category and became the second worst in the world, according to the Air Quality Index, or AQI. In order to get a clearer understanding with the situation, we are going to talk with Director for the Center for Applied Climate Sciences Services, or BMKG, Bapak Ardasena Sopahelu Wakan. Good evening, Bapak Ardasena. Thank you so much for coming to TVRI World.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Pak Tena. It is so great to have you here. So, first of all, what we would like to know is, why is Jakarta's number on the AQI, or Air Quality Index, incredibly high? Are there any specific reasons for the high number on the index?
Well, thank you for that question. First of all, it comes no surprise that Jakarta has a lot of pollution because of major factors. For instance, the transportation that we are all using, including ourselves, the energy and the industry around us, and as well as the energy plant that are around Jakarta to support Jakarta's economic activity. And it becomes to to our attention that the past days or the past week even, that the air quality condition is not good because of the factors that are actually helping us, the natural factors that are actually helping us, which is the rainfall, is now unpresent because now we are transitioning to the dry season where we are missing the natural contribution that in the rainy season help us in cleaning the air that we all breathe in. So that is why now we see that the condition of air quality in Jakarta uh, is not in a good condition. But I would say that it is not uh, overall in all time of the day. It is not healthy. It is most often the case between evening time and early morning time that is an unhealthy condition.
Okay, and then from your answer as well, the AQI is an index that is used in order to measure the air quality in cities, especially metropolitan cities. So I understand that there are several levels of the AQI, which is indicated also by colors. Am I right? It's from green, which is good, yellow, moderate, orange, and then red. So, what are some of the factors that are taken into consideration by the air quality index itself in order to say that this, like a city, for example, like Jakarta, could go into one of these categories?
So the air quality index is contributed by several sub indices, if I may say so. Most importantly is the particulate index of PM 2.5, or in the past we use PM 10. But other than that, we use other contributing species to the pollution index, which are, for instance, contribution of the combustion process of industry and as well as transportation, such as NO2 gas. We also include ozone gases as a trace gas that contributes to the overall air quality index, and SO2. So there are a number of several gas as well as particulate that contributes to this overall air quality index. It's not only one single contribution. And as a city, Jakarta has all of the sources that contributes towards that overall air quality index.
Hmm. And unfortunately, Jakarta, as you said, has all the causes that contributes to that. What would you say, Pak Sena, is the biggest contributor to why the air quality index is so high in Jakarta?
But I would say that the three main contributors are equally contributing. So
Mm-hmm.
transportation,
Mm-hmm.
energy plant, and as well as the industry around us are the most contributors. Even during COVID times, where we expect that the air quality would improve, but doesn't actually, because we still rely on energy plants that are sourced by coals and a few other fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm. And also, what are the normal levels for a good air quality? Would you say that a country must be in terms of the green to yellow? Must it always be good to moderate? Because of course, air quality would differ depending on the situation of that city or how polluted it is, how compact it is as well. Would you say that a country is safe if it's only in terms of like the green scale, or would it still be acceptable if they are also on the orange or yellow scale?
Yes, so maybe first I should convey that most time of the day the index is categorized as moderate. Only a few hours of the
Mm-hmm.
day where perhaps that is captured by the media that the air quality condition is in an unhealthy condition, which is usually late evening until early morning. That is because that in the urban surrounding that we are all living in during evening time, the atmosphere or the air subsides down. So that brings
Mm.
also the pollution to the surface. While in the daytime hours, the atmosphere expands. There is also wind that helps transport this pollution out of Jakarta, and that helps a little bit in clearing the air around Jakarta. But generally, if I look at our monitoring data, the average sort of the tendency of the air quality condition in Jakarta is in a moderate level. Having said that, it is to me actually quite difficult for Jakarta to have a healthy air quality status because of the way that we are living. We almost everybody is using motorcycles, cars. We heavily rely on energy plants from coal, from fossil fuels, fossil energy, and the industry around us that supports all of our economic activity around Jakarta. So I would expect actually in a, in a, in, in a general term or in the longer term that actually so moderate level of air quality is actually sort of the baseline for Jakarta. It's quite difficult to have a very strictly healthy condition like we are perhaps uh, would benefit from surroundings such as a forest.
You say it is quite difficult in order to have a healthy condition and that it mostly lies on the moderate scale. However, Pasena, do you think that it is possible, although it might be difficult, would it be possible for Jakarta to be in a healthier scale in terms of air quality?
Yes, but we have to remove those three emission contributors. So the energy, the transportation, and also the industry around Jakarta has to convert into more environmental friendly way of producing the energy and more environmental friendly way of transportation, for instance. And in addition to that, perhaps we could also rely or be helped by the nature, by the rainfall that will come usually generally during the rainy season by the end of the year. That is natural factor that may help us, but we cannot control the rainfall. In a sense, we cannot control the climate. But so the only element that we can control is our own way of living, our own economic activity that contributes, and then that returns to ourselves as in the form of a bad air quality.
And in terms of finding a solution, does BMKG also have equipments or tools in order to measure the air quality as well as the levels of pollution in Jakarta, Pasena?
Yeah, we have a few monitoring sites in Jakarta, but we are not working ourselves in this case. We are collaborating closely with the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, as well as the regional agency for environment of the government of Jakarta. So we are working close hand in hand with them.
And would you say that in terms of the reaction from the government, has there been a lot of support for kind of like increasing this awareness on the air quality in Jakarta and also supporting the tools that BMKG has?
Yes, we are in a good level of coordination among stakeholders, not only in Jakarta but also nationwide. We have this monitoring system, not only a monitoring equipment that supports and monitors the overall, say, atmospheric condition. And using that monitoring system, we can provide advices to regional government as well as national government on options to improve, so to say, the overall atmospheric conditions of their location.
So hopefully with further collaboration with the ministries, it could also take this step further. And Pasena, I'm curious because one of the three factors that you mentioned is also the number of transportation that we have, especially motorcycles and also cars in Jakarta, which I can say it's a lot due to the traffic that we see every day. However, now there has been a trend moving towards EVs or electric vehicles, which has less emissions. However, they are still vehicles. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that by shifting Indonesia or Jakarta to utilizing electric vehicles, it can reduce the air pollution and reduce the AQI, or do you think that it won't make a big of a difference?
If we do this in a correct way, in a systematic way, and then in a concerted effort, I think this may help in reducing the air quality condition around Jakarta.
So when you say it's the right way and systematic way, does that mean it needs to be supported fully by the government, or does it mean that almost everybody in Jakarta must be using electric vehicles?
Well, in a sense, we know what the contributors of the pollutions are. So if we do the conversion of the transportation means for the public in a massive way, in a concerted effort, I think that may help in improving the air quality condition in Jakarta.
And also, can you tell us more in terms of the air quality here? What are some of the impacts to us, to society, that we might not even be aware of?
Well, according to the experts in health, there might be some possibly health impacts to groups of people that are sensitive, for instance, to air quality. So the elderly, the young children, for instance, that may be sensitive to certain allergens or air quality conditions that are not good. For instance, they may get irritation, for instance.
And also, what is one of the roles, other than the tools and equipments, what are some of the roles of BMKG in order to reduce the air quality and pollution in Jakarta?
Well, we provide monitoring data, we provide information, and we provide advices. And the actions for mitigation in reducing the emission, I think that lies on our counterparts on the sectors that are actually in charge of the issue. But we help them, we collaborate with them in giving information of the air quality condition. What are the possibilities, for instance, or the options to reduce the pollution.
And also, Pasana, I'm curious, do you have any examples of cities or countries that Jakarta can imitate in terms of air quality index? What are they doing right that they get to be in the green zone? And what can we learn from them as well?
Yeah, generally big cities, if you look at around the globe, big cities which rely economic way of doing things and also means of transportation are still relying on fossil fuel transportation. They don't have good air quality. But one good example, for instance, if you look at the Nordic countries, for instance, like Stockholm, they actually relying on electronic transportation. Many of the people there, many of the inhabitants use bicycles, for instance, as a daily transportation means. So that is actually a good example and actually an option for us to copy. So it comes back to ourselves actually, whether we want to take that route as well.
Yeah, most definitely it comes back to the society and as well as the support from the government as well to implement this. Lastly, last question, Basana, what are your hopes for the future in order for Jakarta, in order to implement a more sustainable effort so as that the AQI goes down? And also, what are the hopes of the BMKG in the future so that Jakarta can be a more green city?
Well, we work close hand in hand with many of the sectors that are parts of the government as well as parts of the regional government. And we will continue to provide good information that are scientifically sound and has a good basis. And we are hoping very much that our information that are based on a scientifically sound can be used as a foundation for their decision making as well as their long-term planning in order for us to have a better condition for the atmosphere.
Well, thank you so much, Pak Sena, Bapak Arda Sena Sopa Heluwakan, who is Director for Center for Applied Climate Services at the BMKG. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on TVRI World and sharing your expertise with us. Thank you, Pak.